Hello, my name is Mitchell. I go by the artist name MFFM. This is the first video that's gonna be on my random channel. I was posting live streams myself, playing video games and other things that aren't music related on my music channel, but I decided it would probably be best to have things be separate just so my videos aren't so bloated and random. I personally like it when I find a new artist, if there's consistency and the music is easy to find, because I like doing random videos like this for fun, but at the end of the day, my biggest passion is music, and I would love if people would listen to my music, so decided to have these types of videos be on the side, just doing it for fun. I feel like it's good for my mental health to kind of break out of just doing music and do things like this. So a couple nights ago, I, just for fun and kind of out of boredom, I made a list of my favorite games of all time. So there's 23 games here. None of them are in a particular order. I just tried to think of games that had the most impact on me in my life, and games that I think are either 10 out of 10s or really influential classics that haven't seemed to be topped. And I tried to make it so there's only one game per franchise. And again, not in any particular order, just my 23 favorite games of all time. First game on this list is Red Dead Redemption 2. I actually played this for the first time last year during the summer, and my friend Eric, shout out Eric, he's awesome. He let me borrow his PS4 to play it. And yeah, I see why it has such high praise. The story is amazing. The graphics and the immersion, the characters, how all of the characters, or almost all of the characters, have a set lifestyle, and they react to things that happen in that lifestyle. Like, if it's raining outside, they might react differently than if it's sunny. The ending is really beautiful. It is a really long game, but I think it's the perfect length. It's one of the best stories that I've ever had the chance to experience. There's so many different things, so many unexpected things that happen. The combat's fun. Yeah, so many great things about this game. It really pushes the boundary of what technology is capable of doing, and the level of detail in any game so far in 2025. And I think it came out, 2018 or something, so it's still one of the most impressive games, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years since it came out. So yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. Next one is Dark Souls 1. I've played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, like I beat Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, beat Elden Ring twice, beat Sekiro, beat Bloodborne. That Bloodborne's another game my friend Eric let me borrow his PlayStation 4 to play, so shout out Eric again for that. I know a lot of people, Bloodborne is their favorite, but uh, you know, the whole Soulsborne community, we all kind of have different favorites, but Dark Souls 1 is the one that got me. I mean, the second half is not the greatest, but even with the second half of Dark Souls 1 not being the best, I think just the atmosphere, just the vibe of the game. There's something about the vibe and the way that it's made to where everything in the game, except for the second half, which was rushed, everything in the game is completely intentional. Like it just feels like they had such a solid idea for the lore and exactly how they wanted the layout. Like the map layout is insane. The way that everything is interconnected, I think Dark Souls 1 is the only game that really has that full connectability, that after playing it a bunch of times, like, I think it's cool that you don't get the Lord Vessel to teleport until halfway through the game, so you're able to experience the interconnectivity and yeah, the lore, the combat, the vibe, the, you know, first it's the first Dark Souls that first Soulsborne game that I completed, so that feeling of beating it for the first time is amazing, and, you know, can't feel that again, but it's awesome. So yeah, Dark Souls 1. Next on my list is Guitar Hero 3. So, if you know me for music stuff, which most people do if you're on this channel, you know that I like music. And this game came out when I was around maybe like 9 or 10, and yeah, showed me a lot of music that I didn't know and shaped my taste. It's, you know, I think it's the best rhythm game out there. I never really got too much into like Dance Dance Revolution. I never really got good at that, but, you know, some people that's their favorite. But Guitar Hero 3, I think it has the best selection of music. It's just a fun game. There's not much more that I can say. It's a fun game with good music. I got really good at it. It's a very satisfying game to get good at, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. For all the Tony Hawk fans, might be a little bit controversial, but it's Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. So I know that there's Pro Skater 2, there's Underground fans. I've played all of them from the first one to Project 8. I kind of stopped after Project 8, but I did play the remasters of 1 and 2 recently. I know that American Wasteland, it almost feels like San Andreas, in the way that people are having you do things for them around the city, and you unlock new parts of the city as you go on. But it's just such a crazy, wacky game. I really like the concept of getting parts for the skate park and building it up through getting things around the world and seeing things change around the world. I think the story is actually pretty good. Yeah, I think it's just a really wacky, fun game. There's a lot of tricks that get added into it, like you can do front flips and back flips. Like there's like parkour elements to it. You know, the flat ground and nada spins and all that weird stuff is really fun. I like how you can make your own graffiti. It just has a lot of character in it. It's also a game that I really like the soundtrack of. Like that game soundtrack also really kind of inspired me in what I listen to and what I'm making now. So Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, very fun game. Highly suggested if you've never played it. I mean, I highly suggest all of these games. But yeah. Next one is Skate 2. It's another skateboarding one. So reason why I choose Skate 2 over Skate 1 or Skate 3 is I just think it's the most realistic. As someone who skateboards, or, you know, I don't skateboard that much now, but someone who skateboarded a lot when I was younger, it does, like, the physics feel the most realistic. Obviously there's like wacky glitches and bugs that completely break that realism, but it's I think it has the best map. You know, speaking of interconnectivity in Dark Souls, Skate 2 has a completely connected map, from like the mountains to the suburb areas to the pools and everything. I think the graphics in Skate 2 are actually really good. Yeah, just the whole feel of Skate 2 is the most fun and realistic to me. My brother and I had hundreds, if not thousands, of hours just having fun, like playing 2-player or playing free skate, just like passing the controller back and forth and sort of like hyping up the tricks that we would get. So yeah, very, very near and dear game for me, for sure. Next one is Fallout New Vegas. So I will admit, I tried playing Fallout 1 and I can't get into the top-down clicking to go where you're going type of RPG. It maybe one day I'll get into it, but Obsidian did a great job. I personally think the story is really good with Mr. House and the Hoover Dam. I love how much of like RPG elements are in it. The amount of like clans and different people who will vilify you or will love you, and things will change depending on how you are liked by certain people, what you wear. Like it really feels like every choice matters, which makes it so much more fun and rewarding to like make those choices and to be good or evil. The game plays differently depending on if you choose to be someone who is like really stealthy or just like guns blazing. You can be really good at science or like repairing weapons or making your own bullets. I think the lore and everything that the game pulls from is pretty funny. Like there's a lot of comedy in the game. There's comedy, there's horror, there's there's people who are cannibals, there's people who dress like greasers from the 40s and 50s. There's just so many great characters and moments in that game. Playing it for the first time was awesome, and it has some of the most replayability out of any game I've played, I think. Hoping that new Fallouts and new Bethesda games keep up more or bring back more RPG elements so that it feels like what you're doing actually matters. But yeah, Fallout New Vegas, one of the greatest games. Alright, so Mario Kart Double Dash is my next one. I don't have a lot to say about it. It's really fun. Fun for the whole family. It's the one I've played the most of. I'm really good at it. Once you learn how to use the drift boost, and how to take your corners and use your items properly, you can get really sweaty, and it's really fun. It's not much I can say about it. The maps are good. It's really fun. Next game is Halo 3. I'll be honest, like I've played through Halo 1, 2, 3, Reach, ODST, 4. I haven't played 5 or Infinite really. But 3 is just I really like Reach, but 3 is the most like classic for my age group, I believe. Forge mode being introduced, the maps and multiplayer, just the multiplayer experience on Xbox Live for the 360 was awesome. Not too much I can say about it. Really great campaign, great game. Yeah. All right, next one, Castlevania Symphony of the Night for PlayStation 1. So as far as like Metroidvanias, which if you don't know is a combination of Metroid and Castlevania, it's a style of game where like if you you see something in the map that you can't get to yet, and you have to progress through the game to get an item or an ability, and then you're able to get to that area, and once you're able to get to it, it's the perfect level for where you're at in the game. And just that concept of a game kind of with puzzles and like interconnectivity is called Metroidvania. It's the combat and the enemies and the vibe of it. I keep saying like vibe and atmosphere for this video, but that's really such an important part of creating good art, I believe, is just the world building and almost like ethereal feeling that you get experiencing certain types of art. And the music, the enemies, the map is really badass. The game does something extremely cool at the end. Spoiler alert, but yeah, at the end, you can flip the whole castle upside down, and then from that you get to go through the inverted castle and find completely new areas and items, collectibles, and all that. It's super cool. I don't know if any other game that does that, to be honest. Yeah, if you've never played Symphony of the Night and you like side-scrolling action adventures, it's a great game. Alright, my next one is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So I'm a little bit iffy on how valid my opinion on this is, and if it's really what I think, because I'm playing through it right now. So it could be a lot of recency bias, but yeah, playing through it, like, again, I understand why it's such a classic. The RPG elements are really fun and funny, like how you can get really fat if you eat too much and you don't work out, and like hearing the people react to you in the world depending on those things, and like how you can level up guns and you can you know, you have to fight for your gang and their property. Like you can own houses and businesses and things like that. The story's amazing. Lots of like classic Grand Theft Auto twists in the story. The music's great. Yeah, it's just a really funny, great story. I mean, like classic Grand Theft Auto, a lot of the things are very tongue-in-cheek, but they're relatable, like in the real world. You know, crazy shit does happen in real life, and I think everything that it does, even though it's really jank, it did take me a while to get over the jank and become one with the jank. I think it's a fantastic game. All right, next one is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So, out of all the Call of Duties, I think it's the best one. And I think that's kind of a basic take, but yeah, the story and how cinematic it is. Like, obviously Call of Duties are kind of gonna be fucking military propaganda, low-key, high-key, but with that, it's a really fun game. Like, all the guns are good, and like even the parts that are broken, it's a game where, like, forget the campaign, that we're talking multiplayer. It's a game where in the multiplayer, everything is so broken that it's not broken, because if everything is unfair that you use, then if everyone is using things that are unfair, it becomes fair in the funniest way possible. Yeah, like the maps are great. The community around it is so funny. It spawned like so many people's careers. You know, people are millionaire streamers now because they did quick scope and trick shotting montages back in the day, and like just the amount of shit talking and almost like hilarious internet party scene that was there back in the day. I haven't experienced a game that's too much like that. So yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, one of the greatest games of all time. All right, next one I have on here is Borderlands 2 but on console. Because for some stupid reason, so many games that are couch co-op, split screen, it's not that way on PC. I don't know, like, do the developers think that everyone that owns a PC lives by themselves and has no friends? Because that's not the case. So, yeah, I know there's a way that you can go through a bunch of stuff to get split screen to work on Borderlands 2 for the PC, but I don't want to have to go through a bunch of stuff, a bunch of work to get something that should be in the game already because it's in the console version. So yeah, Borderlands 2, I've had a lot of fun playing that with my older brother again. We had like hundreds of hours doing all the missions, getting all the legendary guns. You know, the characters are really fun. It's really fun to you know, have a group of people where you're all a different character. Like I was the Siren a lot of the time, and I could you know, heal my brother from basically across the map as long as I'm looking at him, and that was pretty OP when we were running it. Yeah, the art style is really cool. The story is really good. All the side missions are really good and funny. I think it's the perfect looter shooter experience, and the art and the world are really cool, and the guns are really fun. Yeah. All right, and my next favorite game of all time. So speaking of Borderlands, where I think it's better on console, Left 4 Dead 2, which is my next on the list. I think Left 4 Dead 2 is better on PC, not only because, you know, the Source engine, if you have a decent PC, it runs so smooth. I'm running I have a 144 hertz monitor, and I'm able to run it at that 144 frames. So it's an extremely smooth running game. But yeah, I like the PC version a lot more also because of all the mods, like Valve letting the community just take assets from anything, or like create assets and put it in the game, is great. Like there's campaigns where, you know, it's in Mario or Crash Bandicoot or like some random TV show like Family Feud or some shit. Like you can mod the audio lines, you can mod new enemies, new maps, new guns. You can put whatever music you want into it. Yeah, as far as the base game though, like the combat is really fun. Like the way that the zombies will, you know, their heads will pop off, or like you'll shoot them in the stomach and their organs will come out. Like it's just a nasty zombie game, and the amount of zombies that are in it is really fun. Like it can be really overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing, and I think that's kind of funny. Left 4 Dead 2 is a lot of fun. All right, and another game that very basic pick, but another game where, you know, playing it on console is fine. I played it on console multiple times before I even had a PC. But when you're able to use mods, it just makes the game into something completely different. And you can same thing with Left 4 Dead. You can change, you know, but the community with Nexus mods makes it so that you can change, you know, enemies, voice lines, maps, campaigns, anything. But as far as base game goes, again, the way that you can just get completely immersed into the world of Skyrim and all of its characters and side missions and clans and things like that, like kind of in the same sense as Fallout New Vegas, where, you know, you can kind of be whoever you want. That I think is great in any game, like any RPG game. It's left a mark on gaming 100%. Like, the music is great. Yeah, just very, very legendary game. The next is The Last of Us Part 1. I played through it for the first time last year, and yeah, the story is, it pulls at your heartstrings. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, the story's fantastic. Damn, I can't say anything about it, but Last of Us Part 1. And then I think this is the most played game of all time. Not 100% sure, but next one is Minecraft. You know, a lot of people chat on this game when it first came out, thinking that it's just like for kids, or thinking that, you know, why would you play a game where the graphics are just blocks. But the amount of creativity that you're able to have, the, you know, how the world is always different, like there's different seeds, the creativity of the community and what people are able to make it, things with redstone, crazy contraptions, I think it's just the perfect sandbox game for you to do whatever you want in it and make whatever you want. I have worlds with friends, I have solo worlds, I have worlds with my girlfriend. You know, anyone can pick the game up and learn how to play it really easy. It has a really easy difficulty curve, and like it has a really easy learning curve for the basics, but then you can be extremely advanced with what you're making. And online community with different servers, people make like Pokemon in it, or like remake all of Hogwarts from Harry Potter. You know, it's just an ultimate creativity tool of a game, and I love that. The soundtrack is awesome too. Like, all the composers for Minecraft did a fantastic job at the ambient music, and you know, the sound designers and everything did a great job for those sounds. And when the music is being used, I think everything about the game is perfect. Yet again, I'm talking about atmosphere and physics and vibe of a game, but Half-Life 2 is my next one on the list. they put so much time and money and effort into making this, and that the physics engine, and you can really tell if you're someone that really likes to be immersed into a world and take in, you know, a visual and audio creation of a story, then this game is for you. The combat is so satisfying. I don't know. I don't have too much to say about this game other than the combat, the atmosphere, the music. It's all top notch. So here's my first fighting game of the list. It is Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's the one that I've played the most. The roster is really great. It's not as much as Ultimate, which is the most recent one. But I think it just holds something, you know, special in my heart. It's the perfect game to play when you're having a little get together. You have a blast with it if you're completely sober, or if you're at a party and you're having drinks. It's same as, not exact same, but similar to Minecraft, where it's really easy to pick up, but if you're gonna get crazy good at it, there's a space for that. People have careers, or like people have made a lot of money for themselves or for charity just by being really good at this game. And I think for a game that's like with all the cute characters and everything, I think it's funny that it's so competitive. The flow of the fighting is really good, and it's a really fun classic game that anyone at any age can play. The next fighting game on the list is Tekken 5. I recently replayed this a bunch with my older brother when I was visiting with him and the rest of my family. Another game where the roster of characters is really great and has some really wacky characters like Yoshimitsu, and then there's like a person made out of wood, and there's a panda and like a giant robot guy you can play as. Like the characters are really random and funny, and there's like a couple arcade mini games in the game. When you have someone, same as Smash Bros. Or like any fighting game, but when you're able to have someone who is equal to or close to your skill level, it's a really, really fun and satisfying fighting game. And I don't understand the story at all, but it seems pretty fucking epic. So yeah, Tekken 5. My next one is a game I also played for the first time just this last summer. It's an indie game. I don't think a lot of people know about it, but as far as platformers, I think it might be my favorite platformer I've ever played, and it's called Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom. So in this game, you're one of those wind-up taxis, or sorry, you're one of those like wind-up toys. So you wind it up and then it goes. If you remember those or know what I'm talking about. And there's like 3 moves in the game. You know, you can obviously you steer, and then there's a boost that you can use where if you have like a ramp and you know, let's say you boost on the flat, it's not going to do too much, but if you boost while you're going up the ramp, like not at the top but kind of in the armpit of the ramp, you get like extreme air and momentum, and that's used a lot for the platforming. But then also, if you're about to do a boost, but then you press the boost button and cancel it, your taxi flips on its back, and then it bounces, and you can control it while it's bounced and in the air and guide yourself in the platforming. There's also some like trick moves that you learn later on in the game, but those are the two basic moves. And the world design is crazy. It takes from like Mario 64 a lot, and like, you know, Banjo-Kazooie, that type of stuff. It's really funny, and the characters, and like throwing jabs at real world people and corporations and things like that. I played this game through a, you know, kind of a rough patch I was going through last summer, and it helped me get through it. It's a very like bright, saturated game. It big dopamine release playing it. For me, it's just the perfect like kind of fun, fast-paced, wild, wonky platformer that is out there. Like there's lots of hidden areas and things. You can you get coins, and then you can get like hats for your taxi, and that's kind of fun to do. I think I 100% of the game. I got like everything that was in it. Yeah, it's a great game. As I'm going through this list, I think I'm realizing that some of the best games have really wonky things in them. My next one is Saints Row 2. Saints Row 2, I think, is like the perfect balance of like a serious, crazy story and this like completely ridiculous shit happening, from emotional deaths of characters to beating people up with a giant purple dildo. It's a pretty big contrast. Yeah, the world in the game is really fun. It definitely found a way in the second one to separate itself from Grand Theft Auto, just from being completely wild. All the missions that you can do outside of the main story, like for example insurance fraud, where the main goal is to rack up as much like insurance money that you can get by doing things to your character. I think without having them killed, but I don't exactly remember. But I know you can like just ragdoll yourself in front of a truck, and your character will just like fly, and depending on how many things you hit or like how bad you get injured, you get money from that. And it's like mixing that with gang wars and a bunch of other things, like a bunch of other funny side missions, is just the perfect combination for entertainment. The way that your like gang base gets nicer throughout the story. Music in it is really good as well. I know there's like a resurgence right now of an online community in the game, and like role playing and stuff. I know a guy I used to work with, it's like the only game he's played for the last like 10 years because of online and just the amount of things that you can do, and like variety of things you can do in just the story and like the main game itself. It is really great. So yeah, I do think they went a little bit too far with the zaniness in the third one. I think they had too much dip on their chip for that one. But yeah, still, I think the third one's still a great game, but the second one just, it's the perfect combination of good story and crazy stuff. The next one is Wii Sports Resort. So I chose this just out of it being fun for the whole family. It has everything, I think, that original Wii Sports had, like the tennis and does it have baseball? I don't know if it has baseball. Tennis, golf, bowling. There's not a lot more wholesome fun that you can have by yourself or with friends or with family than playing a Wii Sports game. And Wii Sports Resort just added a bunch of new stuff. It added our pins to the bowling. It added ping pong. It added the sword, the sword one. The not jousting. What is it called? Anyway, the sword one, where like you'd have to block and attack with the Wii remote, but you could just go like this, and your character would attack with the sword like that, and you would win most of the time. You had to like push the people off the platform. The dog frisbee. I know my mom and my girlfriend are huge fans of the dog frisbee. Yeah, it's just a really great, wholesome, it's just like a nice, warm, bright experience of playing the game. Like, it's a good game to play. I live in Canada. It gets depressing and really dark and cold here. It's a good, bright, warm game to play at any point. You know, nothing offensive in it at all. It's just so many fun mini games that you can play at any level, but you can get really good at them. I was really good at the basketball with that. You know, holding B, going crazy on the court. Yeah, there's just much more variety to Nintendo making fantastic motion control sports games. Yeah. And the last one on my list, let me remind you, my personal list is Gears of War 2. I remember going over to my friend Daniel's house and seeing Gears of War 1 for the first time and just thinking, this is so badass. This is so cool. Just these chunky guys with chainsaw guns ripping apart bloody locusts. It's such a dark and gritty game. And I think I know a lot of people say that the multiplayer in 2 online was downgraded, but I didn't have Xbox Live at the time of Gears of War 1 in its peak, so I never played it. I never even actually played online until Gears of War 3. But Gears of War's story, I don't want to spoil anything, but like everything that they go through is just so tough. Again, the atmosphere of the game, like the graphics for the time were amazing. The gun design and the architecture in the game and all the set pieces were so cool. Like just everything that the characters go through, and it is crazy. And then as far as multiplayer, like I played against bots a lot of the time. My friend Mark and I, and like some of the guys that I grew up with on my street, we would we would play multiplayer together and like do the co-op campaign together, and horde mode, like the introduction of horde mode, and just the feeling of the gunplay, and like playing as a sniper, or like using the sniper, and the sound of the head exploding and getting like a perfect reload. It's just like, it just felt so good at the time. Yeah, perfect combat and story, and just all around great game. Yeah, so if you've watched this, thank you. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I just felt like doing this. Just a random idea. Thought it would be fun. Talk about things I like. And yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Hope, stay blessed. Stay healthy, stay hydrated. Love. All love to all my people. Peace.